This is question 21 on the higher calculator paper. Okay, reading through the question first, it says the histogram, so it's a question on histograms, show some information about the weight of some apples. So looking at the histogram, here's the frequency density, and it goes, there's 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, so halfway between is going to be like 0.1, there's 0.3, 0.5, and so on. And then on this scale, it's going up in 20s, so 120, 140, 160, and halfway along I could find like 110, 130, and so on. The question wants me to work out the proportion of apples in this sample with a weight between 140 grams and 200 grams. Weight they're interested in is between 140, so I'm going to draw a line here so I can mark this out straight away and I know what I'm looking for. So 140 to 200 grams. So they're looking for the fraction of apples that have weights between 140 and 200 grams. So if I need to work out the proportion of apples that have weights in that range, I need to work out the area of the whole histogram to find out how many apples there were all together, and then work out the area of these three bars here from 140 to 200 and divide one by the other to actually work out the proportion overall. So what I'm going to do first of all is to work out the area of every single bar on this histogram. The area of the bar would tell me how many apples that each of the bars are accounting for. I need to pay close attention to the scale as I do this. So that there is going to be 0.1 and one more above it. So these tiny squares are going to standing for 0.02. Yeah. So that's going to be like 0.1, 0.12, 0.14, 0.16, 0.18, and then 0.2. So that's going to be 0.1, 2, and I'm going to times that by how far apart these are, and that goes from 100 to 40, so that's 40. So that will give me the area of that block. Now I'm going to do that to each of those in turn. I'll go through this not particularly quickly, but fast enough so that I could work it all through. So that there is 0.3, 0.32, 0.32, 0.34, 0.36. So that's 0.36. And I'm going to times that by 40 to 60. That's 20. This one here is going all the way up to that. That may be a bit easier. That's going to be 0.7. I'm going to times that by 20. This next bar goes just 2 under 0.06. So that there is 0.5, 0.52, 54, 56. So 0.56 times by 20. And then this last bar is just one below 0.2. So that's going to be 0.18. And times that by, that goes all the way across to 40. Okay, so if once I work all of that out, so the total number of apples is equal to, and I'm going to work that out and just write the numbers at the top of each. So we can see that there, and that's 0.12 times 40. That's going to give me 4.8. It's not the number of apples, it's the weight of the apples. That's 0.36 times 20, and so the weight of the apples in there is 7.2, right? This section here is going to be 0.7 times 20. That's going to give me 14. The next section, 0.56 times 20, 11.2. And the final block is 0.18 times 40. That's 7.2. So each of those numbers there are the weights of apples that the bars underneath them represent. So the total weight of apples is 4.8 plus 7.2 plus 14 plus 11.2 plus 7.2. I need to add those up. And again, I'm going to use the calculator for that. You've got the calculator for this exam, so might as well take full advantage of it. So I've got 4.8 plus 7.2 plus 14 plus 11.2 plus 7.2, and that's going to equal 44.4. So 44.4. But the weights of apples in this section here, going from 140 to 200, that's going to be 7.2 added to 14 added to 11.2. And what does that work out to be? We're doing a similar thing. 7.2 add 14 add 11.2. That gives me 32.4. 32.4. So if I just raise this up a bit so I could do the next line of working where I could work out the proportion. So the proportion of apples between 140 grams and 200 grams is going to be equal to, well, the weight of apples between 140 and 200 is 32.4, and the total weight of apples altogether is 44.4. I need to do that division now. So 32.4 divided by 44.4, that gives me 0.729729, and so on. So I need to just look at that, and they haven't said anything about rounding or the number of decimal places, but I'm just going to round that to 2 decimal places, and that's just more than adequate, especially in a question where they haven't told you. So just writing it to 2 decimal places, that's going to be 7.3. If you look at what the question is, 2 decimal places, 1, 2, I'm going to draw a line there, and that 9 means I round up and the 2 turns to a 3. So the proportion, and that which I write in the answer space, is going to be 7.3. That's the proportion of apples which are in that range from 140 to 200. Okay, this question is towards the tail end of the high paper, and especially for those people who are aiming for A's and A stars, you need to be able to do this question, and you need to be pretty confident to get as many marks from it as possible. It's straightforward once you break it down, so take your time, make sure you get the marks.